how to start a food forest business. So this is going to be the first video in a very long, probably 20 something part series about how to start a food forest installation business, or pollinator garden, native plant garden, fruit garden, however you want to call it, whatever type or variety. This is something that I did this summer. I started my own, and so I'm going to walk you through everything you need to know. It's going to be a lot of practical, step-by-step, everything that you need to do to actually start this business. Everything from the business structure to the skills and education you need to the marketing, the sales. If this is something that you're interested in, it's probably not because you want to go make money, as much money as possible at whatever cost. Hopefully this is something you're passionate about. And so yeah, this is going to be the second video in this series, even though it's the first, because the last video was about the market garden business that I started and did, and about kind of why I'm doing this instead now. So in this video, I'm going to give some background, and you're going to get a clear idea of what's in the series, and we're going to get started talking about the food forest business blueprint that I'm going to be outlining for you. So a food forest is something you should know what it is. If you're watching this, go Google that. But the reason we're interested in food forests, just kidding, I don't know why you're interested, but the reason I'm interested in food forests is because it produces healthy food, it's good for the environment, and it's something I really enjoy doing and building and designing these ecosystems. So good for the environment, good for the bees, good for soil conservation. Ultimately, I really envision a future where food is growing all around us. Humans have been growing food forests for a very long time. This is not a new idea. But I imagine a future where food is growing all around us, in people's yards, in schools. And so market gardens are great, having local farmers that grow vegetables, but especially for fruit, medicinal herbs, pollinator plants, especially for fruit. It just makes so much sense to have fruit trees everywhere and these entire ecosystems that take care of those fruit trees. So if this is something you want to be a part of, a food forest installation business can be a really meaningful career. I absolutely love what I do. People are so happy when I install a food forest in their yard. They get so excited. And I know that even if they never do anything with it, it's going to be good for the environment, good for the bees. I'm planting a bunch of native wildflowers, but they're all very excited about having that in their yard. It's just a beautiful thing, and you're going to feel so good doing this on so many levels for the people you're helping, for the environment. And yeah, for me, I actually got into all this originally from healthy food, and so I started to realize that what actually makes healthy food isn't the food you eat so much as the quality of the food, and started to go down that rabbit hole of researching how even organic is a total scam. The organic standards have gone down and down over the last 30 years. And so what is actually healthy food, what is actually sustainable ecological agriculture is pretty rare to find. And so I went on this journey of actually getting a lot of my food, which I still do, from local farms that really do an exceptional job, that are really at the top notch of quality, and not in some bougie way, just that they understand and know what actually goes into creating a healthy food. And through this, I became interested in the environment, saw that what we're doing is destroying our health is also destroying the environment, because these systems that produce unhealthy food produce unhealthy ecosystems, because unhealthy food is a product of an unhealthy ecological system, and any food that you eat, any plant or animal, is part of some kind of ecological system, even if it doesn't look like an actual ecosystem. So it goes hand in hand. If you want healthy food, it's going to probably be good for the environment. Of course, there are exceptions, but these things really go together. If we're building these healthy ecological systems, it's good for you, good for the environment. And also, it's just beautiful. Having a food forest in your yard with these wildflowers, fruit, is beautiful and amazing. And compared to a monocultural cornfield, having a food forest is just so much more beautiful. So all these amazing things about food forests. This is why I started my own farm business, because it's an amazing thing. But if you watch my last video, you'll see why I'm doing this now instead. So that's kind of a little bit, honestly, what I'm doing is trying to sell you on the idea of food forests, so that if you're watching this, you get excited. You're like, wow, that sounds really interesting, and I want to go watch this series and see what that looks like. Or if you're just watching the series, I want you to be excited about this, because building a food forest business can be an amazing thing. I'm so happy I did this, and I feel so certain about it. There's so many different business in a box ideas. Go do this business, go do that business, you'll make money. And I've tried different things before, and ultimately it's just like I'm able to put so much energy into this because I'm tapping into something that I really care about. And I have so much clarity now. I'm very certain I'm going to be doing this for a while. And so yeah, we're going to talk about kind of what the structure of this video series is going to be. But first, let's see. Yeah, this is something I started this summer, and this is something that you can precisely do. You can really do this. And like I said, there's a lot of these. If you're interested in like entrepreneurship, starting your own business, doing something that you're passionate about, that you enjoy, that you feel like is having a good impact, there's so much information out there. And I assure you that my mind has been blown away how good of a business model this is, even compared to market gardening, selling vegetables. And I definitely think you can actually do this. It's not going to be easy. It's going to take time to build. But really I started 4 months ago and it's been going absolutely amazing. So you can really get this one off the ground pretty quick. Although it does take a lot of work. I've been working like crazy on this. You can also just start slower and just start doing projects as they come. But I've been doing it full time for the past couple months. So yeah, this is something you can do. And limiting beliefs are going to be a huge obstacle to actually doing any kind of thing you want to do. The funny thing for me is I have had this idea for years. I've had moments of deep inspiration where I'm like, wow, I freaking love permaculture. I love food forest design. Check out this book, Food Forest Design. I'm like, wow, imagine if I could design these and be someone who helps people design food forest systems for their properties or for their school, nonprofit, some kind of commune they're starting, whatever, and maybe helps them install it too. And I had this vision. I was like, wow, that would be an amazing thing. But I kind of thought like this is something in this niche that's so, I don't know what it is that I thought about. I thought maybe because it's healthy, because it's good for the environment. I was like, I can't make a profit doing this. No one's going to pay me for my silly drawings. But in reality, when I started to learn about food forestry about 7 years ago, I was like, oh my God, am I ever going to be able to actually do this? Like, it's a lot because you're designing an entire ecosystem. Like, you really have to understand what you're doing at a very deep level and then take that deep level contextual understanding and then be able to apply that to a certain context. So know all these ecological principles and then know how to apply that into actually designing and implementing this system on the land. So food forestry is a serious skill, and that's one thing I'd say. We're kind of getting off track, but we're holding these two threads here. So the limiting beliefs thing and food forestry is a serious skill. So yeah, you do need to really know what you're doing. However, when you develop, let's say, a blueprint for your local climate, your local area, maybe a small food forest, like 100, 300, 500 square feet in somebody's yard, you really can pull it off. And it doesn't need to be perfect at that scale. You really don't need to be a complete master at it to be able to get started and do that. You can learn a certain amount as you go. For me, I want to be able to design these beautiful acre food forest systems. This is something I've been studying for a while that I'm really passionate about. And so I have that background knowledge. And a lot of people, I think, go to permaculture design courses. They know a lot about this stuff and they have a lot of background knowledge. If you don't, it's not a huge obstacle. If this is what you want to do, it's not that hard of a thing to learn. That book I showed you, if you read, it's a 2-volume series. That's one of the books. If you read that full series, like that's everything you need to know about food forestry as far as the fundamentals and also how to implement it. And then maybe you can read some more books on like how to do it in your local climate, just other stuff about gardening and things like that. I'd read the permaculture books too, learn stuff about permaculture, but like that book there is going to teach you, like, I don't want to say everything, but a lot. So as far as limiting beliefs go, here's my story. So with this, like I said, I had that vision for years. I was like, wow, this would be a cool thing to do. And then my limiting beliefs would come in. That's how it works. You have a moment of inspiration. You tap into your higher self, a higher vibrational state, and you can see this clear vision for your life. And you can do visualization. What is visualization? Feeling emotions within your body attached to a mental image of some future thing that you want to create in the world or manifest and create, because it's really the same thing. You don't really manifest something a lot of the time by just thinking about it and then it appears. You actually do have to put in the work, but that vibrational state of feeling the emotions of having that thing is going to help you do that. in a productive, high vibrational way, which will bring it to you also. So it's like this thing, but the point is, yeah, limiting beliefs. So I don't know. I think I had a thread there I lost, but it doesn't matter. What I was really trying to get to is, yeah, I would have this moment of inspiration of like a visualization. My limiting beliefs would come in, and that really stopped me from thinking that I could do this. And so I want to tell you, you can do this. What made me realize, what really gave me this breakthrough is I went to an event related to permaculture. I met someone who is doing exactly what I'm talking about. I started working for them. I only worked one shift because they were actually like moving or some long story, but I did that and I was like, oh my God. I looked around. They said, yeah, I started this business 18 months ago. They weren't even doing it full time. And they had these massive $10,000+ projects doing people's full yards. And I was like, oh my God, this is just like a normal person doing this. I can actually do this thing that I've been wanting to do. And it made me realize how much I've been holding myself back. And so immediately I went and I posted ads on like Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, the Nextdoor app, reach out to people I know. And next thing you know, I started doing a lot of just regular landscaping in order to just like get some experience and try to do as many food forest related jobs as I can. And then over time, I met someone who was into food forestry and like, oh my gosh, this person wants me to work on their entire yard. And now I have this system in place and I can actually do it. So now at this point, I'm pretty much able to do a bunch of these jobs all the time related to food forestry, pretty much done with doing any kind of regular landscaping. Which I just did because like you kind of, before you niche down, it can be helpful to get to the broader part of the market, but it's really not needed. Like I wouldn't recommend doing that. It was just something I did in order to just jump into doing this full time. It's like if I met someone and they were like, oh, that sounds cool, but really I want this. I'd be like, okay, I guess I'll do it. Like I already know a lot of landscaping carpentry stuff just from being in this field, but yeah, so like those limiting beliefs, as soon as I saw that I could actually do it, I went and I did it. And since then, I've just been doing it and doing it and doing it. And I keep thinking, realizing like, whoa, I can really do this. And so I just want to share that with you that like, yeah, it might seem difficult, but like, I swear it is so simple. It's not so, I mean, it is so, I don't know what the word is. It is something. I will lay it out for you. I will make it so simple. I will make it so clear. I will lay out every single thing that you need to do in this series in order to start a food forestry pollinator garden installation business. So we're going to cover all that. Totally attainable, totally doable. Just like any business is. Not any business. I mean, there's certainly some scammy business models that people try and preach, but if you are really interested in this, if you're like, yes, that is the thing for me, you're going to be able to figure it out. There's just all these like, I thought like, no, I'm not going to be able to sell that to someone. Turns out you just need to like get better at selling things, and sales isn't a terrible thing if you're selling things you really believe in. Sales can actually be just getting someone to understand a higher paradigm and see the beauty in something. And of course, a lot of people just aren't interested in this, but a lot of people are. And some people are on the fence. And so maybe it's that. Maybe you think, oh, I don't know how to generate leads. You're like, oh, I really don't have the expertise. You can totally learn this. It's a very viable business model. It is something that can be done. So that's what I want to express to you. I want to tell you if you're interested in this, totally doable. I'm going to help you do that. And yeah, so why am I doing this? Because I really believe in it, and I do think we need these everywhere, right? So it's not a competition to me. I don't care if a bunch of people in my city start doing this. We need everybody to get good at convincing people and doing sales, which is just convincing someone to get into your paradigm and your understanding of something. We need a bunch of people out there convincing people of the importance of food forestry, convincing people to invest their money into pollinator-friendly plants and gardens. And ultimately, like, I really like the idea of working with schools, because I think that would be such a beautiful thing. Kids get healthy food. I like the idea of having like a food forest and even a little market garden for school. Imagine all the fruits and vegetables for a large school. The kids are eating those from the land. That would just be so good for the kids. They're getting education about ecology, about ecosystems, about gardening, about farming, hands-on, which is an amazing, super important thing for them. And they're getting a beautiful natural nature space that they can play and spend time in, connect with, and that's super amazing too. So all three of those things, like, this is just like, oh my gosh, we need these in every single school. So we need a bunch of people getting good at building these systems where they have a business that they can do this with. And so that's one more thing I'll touch on after this. But yeah, that's why I'm doing this series, is because if I can help some people understand what it takes to create this kind of system, this kind of business, that's an amazing thing. We need these in every city. We need people doing this everywhere. It's like, people say like, oh, is that an expanding business model? Is that a dying business model? You need to get into a business that's expanding. No, this is the type of thing where you get good at selling this. You get people on the same page of understanding this, and you create the market. You're not going out and finding people, although you are. Actually, to be fair, there are a lot of people who are really interested in this already. But the point is that even if we went and found all the people who want pollinator plants in their yard, we need to be convincing everyone. And it's nowhere near the point where there's so few businesses doing this. It's actually kind of mind-blowing that there's so few businesses doing this compared to how many people are like, oh yeah, wildflowers for the bees, that's awesome. And there's a lot more people who are like, yeah, wildflowers for the bees, than people who are like, yeah, food forestry, design entire ecosystems, fruit trees, create a new food system. But it's pretty easy to bump them up from like save the bees to like, this is the future of agriculture. And so, yeah, there's no scarcity here. What I'm trying to work on is not something where I'm trying to corner the market. That's why I'm creating this series, I think, in order to have this impact ultimately. And I'm just getting started, but ultimately, I'm not going to just do this by going and building all these gardens myself. I want to create more systems to install these gardens and this type of agriculture, and whatever that, I don't know what form that's going to take. For now, this is how I'm exploring it. And I just wanted to shoot this series to kind of explore, like, maybe I can share this and hopefully help some people. So yeah, we're going to cover all that. That's why I'm doing it. I was going to talk about something there. Oh yeah, so two more things. First, what I'm teaching you to do with this series, with creating this system, is to create a system so that when you find a client, not when you find a client, but when you find a client, and also so that you can find clients, you have this whole system in place. A few months ago, I wouldn't have known what to do if I found someone who wanted me to build them a food forest. So it might not sound it might sound like it shouldn't be that complicated, but you do need to have a business system. Even when you're doing something as amazing and green and everything as this is, you need to have a system in place. And you need to be generating leads, you need to be selling those leads, and you need to have the competency to do the thing. You need to be able to give people estimates and accept payment right away. It is a non-negotiable. This is the only way you're going to succeed, is if you have a Excel spreadsheet. And of course, I want to walk you through this, but you need to have a system in place where you can go to someone, you can know what they need, you can listen to them about their vision for their land, what they're interested in, what they want done, what their budget is, whatever, all this stuff. You can share with them what kind of stuff you're passionate about, what you're interested in, how that might blend with their vision, how you might be able to offer services that go with their vision. And if someone doesn't have this vision, if they're just like, they're not on the same page, I don't think you need to try and sell them, but you can co-envision what you can do to help them with their land. And of course, if you are doing something amazing like this, you really believe in it, there's nothing wrong with kind of showing them that this might be what they want to do. And so you're selling them on that. And as you do so, you need to be able to be like, okay, pull up the tape measure, check out the spreadsheet. And I mean, this is just interesting because this is kind of an example, but there's like 20 different aspects to the system that you need to have in place. So spreadsheet, this many square feet, they want this kind of this, they want this customization, and this is my estimate. This is how much I can do it for. And then it's like, okay, do you want this done? Yes. Okay, give me 50% right now so I can go start working on it, go get supplies, blah, 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 blah. You need to do that. You can't be sloppy about the business stuff. You need to have all these systems in place. And I read a lot of business books. I know a lot about entrepreneurship, whatever. Not because I'm like someone who's interested in business for business sake. Some people are, maybe that's great. I don't know. But because I know that ultimately what I want to do, I'm going to need to use those skills. And so I'm going to show you how to apply that business knowledge to this type of business system. So the spreadsheet there that I gave you, the system of developing estimates is one example, but you also need lead generation. You need to learn sales skills. You need to know how to source your plants. Actually, I don't even know if I have a video outline for that, but yeah, no, I think I do. For sourcing plants, you need to have all these systems in place so that when you get so that you can go and actually do the thing. And there's all these components. If you have one component missing, your system's not going to run properly. And here's what I'm building to with that. When you have this system in place, you'll be able to do a certain size food forest. Then you'll be like, okay, I have an understanding based on this small food forest I did of what a bigger project looks like. Okay, I could do a bigger project for this much money. Okay, here's what it would take. Here's how I would do this bigger project. And eventually, what I'm trying to do, what I was rushing to do, is get projects done. And as soon as possible, I'm at the point now, after doing this for 4 months, where I could meet someone who wants a massive $100,000 project done, and I can go up to them and I can say with confidence, with security, with honesty and authenticity, I know how to do that for you, and here's the price, and I can do that. As you start, you're going to have this limit where a project gets to a certain size. There's a certain type of specificity, a certain type of customization you don't know how to do. And so you need to expand what you're able to do as soon as possible. If it's not in your reality that you could land a $100,000 project because you have this skill and you just find the right person, it's not going to happen. I am forcing it to be in my reality that this could blow up at any speed, that I could meet the right person who sees this vision, who wants to have a massive project done. I need to be ready to handle that. And so a lot of what I'm going to be teaching you here is how to just make a certain amount of money doing this, and also how to be able to grow and expand and where you can take this, which is just something I'm thinking about. I've been doing this for 4 months, so it's all fresh in my mind. I don't know what I would be able to tell you in a couple of years from now. I'd probably have a different perspective, which might offer a lot more value in certain ways. But right now, this is all fresh in my mind. I just created this. So I'm going to be able to share a lot about what it's like to expand into this, if you know what I'm saying. So yeah, one final point. I had a few things written down. So yeah, I'm just going to maybe what's in this series. So LLC, bank accounts, you need to understand that. I'm going to be talking a little bit about mindset, about manifestation and limiting beliefs. I kind of hinted that already, although that's not going to be the crux of the series. But I do find that these things, whether you believe in it or not, I'm sure you understand your mindset is either going to allow you to do this or not. This is just so deeply important. I'm not an expert on this, but I don't know. I really have studied this stuff a lot, and so it would be interesting to share that and relate it to this context. See how that goes. And yeah, I might as well just read out the outline. This is the intro video, and this is not in order yet. So we talked about bank accounts, LLC, how to actually, we'll go in the order I have, even though it's not in order. So education and experience. I did kind of just naturally, this is funny, talk about a lot of these things. I've just been doing this off the dome, but I guess it's all in my head, all fresh off my mind, like I said. So we're going to be talking about education and experience, really going into detail about what you need to know to do this, and where you can go to get more information. Obviously, you want to be more and more educated as you go, but what you need to know to get started. So Instagram/website, that kind of presence, what you need to do there. And I'll just give you a hint. Ultimately, I don't think I've made a single sale where someone has looked at my Instagram. I don't have a website. You don't need that. Don't let anyone tell you that you need that. I think eventually it might be more efficient, more optimal, but if you don't have a system in place without that, you don't need. I do have the Instagram though, and I do think that is probably important, even though I just haven't had to show someone it yet. Testimonials. So as you go, you're going to be collecting testimonials and taking pictures and videos of your work. The funny thing is I actually haven't had to use this at all either, but I am going to be running a cold email marketing system over the winter in which that will be absolutely critical. So that's another video. I'm going to talk about marketing, and marketing covers a lot. So lead generation and marketing, everything from cold email marketing, websites, to people you already know, seeing if they know people who are interested, to business cards, to talking to going to organizations, which is something I haven't done yet, but we're going to talk about it because this is part of my vision. And I think I can speak on how that relates to everything, although I don't know the details of what it's like to go talk to a school about this. Bulletin boards in co-ops, food places, garden stores, put in a bulletin boards, yard signs, and yeah, also for marketing, free consultations. So we're going to be talking about all that. Going to be a whole thing on all the different types of marketing, what you can do. Free consultations are free consultations, but really that's a sales call. That's why you're doing that. We're going to be talking about sales, how to learn sales, how to do it in a high integrity way, how to structure a sales pitch, how to develop a sales call frame when you're doing sales calls, when you're doing in-person consultations, and the inner psychology of sales, of how to do sales in a high integrity way that comes across and improves your ability to do sales, and the outer structure of sales. We're going to be talking about how to accept payment. We're going to be talking about, do you need a permaculture certificate? We're going to be talking about organizing a list of all the plants that you might be working with. I am incredibly organized. This whole process, I've been doing so much. I have a business to-do list with like 30 to 40 things on it at any given time. You need to be incredibly organized. And honestly, we're going to write that down right now. I'm gonna need a video just about how to be organized. But in that context, like I said, organized for your estimates, organized for your different plants that you're going to be working with. You need a sales contract. You need to send people invoices. We're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about design versus installation. Some companies sell designs of food forests and set installation separately as a bundle. For me, I just do installations, and design is part of the process. Eventually, I would like to sell designs, but this is what I'm starting with. So let me talk about that. Scheduling, how to do your schedule when you're scheduling out all these jobs, how to work with that. Like how to get people into your schedule, how to get consultations and sales calls and in-person consultations into your schedule, how to keep your schedule busy so you have enough jobs, how to know how long things will take, everything like that. Just everything about scheduling. And of course, we're going to be talking about how I actually build the gardens. And so I'm going to be laying out this, like, you have all this knowledge, right? You have this whole understanding of food, forestry, ecology that you need to go into this. But you're probably going to get a lot, like you could go do all that and then be like, okay, so how do I build the garden? So I'm going to give you a lot of detail. This is probably going to be multiple videos about how I build these gardens, kind of my blueprint, because a lot of the time it looks like the exact same thing because I'm doing it in somebody's yards with the same plants from the same nursery, adapting to maybe different sun and shade conditions. But other than that, a lot of it is the exact same thing. So I'm going to be telling you how to actually install these things. You don't want to mess that up. That's going to be a very valuable part of this series. We're going to be talking about customizations. Maybe someone wants some raised garden beds. Okay, I can do that for you. Stuff like that. We're going to be talking about sourcing materials. Yep. You're going to need a lot of mulch. Yeah, and ultimately, I might have missed one or two things in there. I actually don't think I did. But final video I have written down on here is how to actually start doing this, how you want to structure that over the weeks or months that you're starting this. And yeah, it is coming into winter now, but if this is something you're interested in, it's actually a good time to start thinking about how you're going to structure that into your next season. And I don't know, maybe it's not winter where you're at. Maybe you're down south and you can install these things year round, but that should give you some ideas of what's coming in this series. It's a beautiful business model. It's absolutely amazing. I'm overjoyed to be doing this, and I love doing it every day. I don't at all think about, okay, how many hours until I'm done with work. It's absolutely amazing. I'm outside doing something that's bringing value in so many different ways that I really enjoy doing. And you can get paid well to do this. Although I wouldn't jump into it as some kind of cash grab. I would think about moving into that over time. So yeah, that's everything. if you have watched the video to this point, if anyone has watched the video to this point, because this is my first of this series, and I haven't been really doing YouTube. So if anyone actually watched this video to this point, that's awesome. You might be the first one to do so. Go down below and leave a comment. I'd love to hear if you actually watched the video to this point. If you have, no reason not to leave a comment. You definitely have something to say. I would love to hear from you. I'd love to hear how I can bring value to you doing this series. So yeah, peace.